Hey guys!
Welcome to the adventure. So, again, another video upon request, and this kind of just is a little bit building off of how we operate and just different things that we truthfully forget about, that we already know the information and we apply the information and how we apply the information, but it's not common information to everybody, especially if you are new to driving and especially if you are new to team driving. And so it's little things that we have learned along the way. And so today we're going to touch on ELDs, and next week we will most likely be touching on ELDs as well, because I want to do a little bit more research. So next week we're going to kind of go in depth about why we're so passionate about the 3 a.m. to 3 p.m. split, why we choose to split it that way, and then also how we feel about the one of the laws that are coming up in the trucking industry, that they're wanting to possibly approve the 5 for 5 split instead of the 7 to 3 or
8 and 2.
Yeah, 8 and 2. And so we just wanted to kind of go over all of that stuff, but I need to do a little research. That's next week. So today we're going to go over the ELD when it comes to how do you know what you should be logging it as and what notes you need to make while doing which tasks. We're going to go ahead and go over it, and it can be confusing as team drivers. So to set the precedent already, I let you know, like, I drive 3 a.m. to 3 p.m. So anything that needs to be done with the truck during those hours is going to be assigned to me. Anything for him is going to be assigned to him. And so I know some of you are like, well, I have pickup times at different times and I have to go to the shop in the middle of the shift. So do we.
Yeah, there's been times we got to California at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I would drive in, and then our loads wouldn't be released for 18 hours. She gets the day off, and then I have to go back to work again. That's just how it is. You got to keep on your same sleep pattern. You got to work on that circadian rhythm.
Yeah, so work on your schedule. ELD is through a tablet and through an app. It is the Motive app, and so it's pretty basic, but you do have the log section where it kind of shows you the image of the old-fashioned log and kind of what that looks like. But let's go over like the task manager. So right now I am technically in sleeper berth. I just got done my driving shift, and so I'm gonna go straight to sleeper berth because I am not going to be responsible for the truck or the equipment until it's 3 a.m.
Nine times out of 10, you can be in off duty for 2 hours while the truck is moving, but 9 times out of 10 we'll forget to make that switch. So just to keep it easy, just sleeper berth.
And so when I go off duty, I'm done driving and I've done all my pre-trips and post-trips and all like that, then I go straight over to sleeper berth time, and I just stay there for that 12-hour or plus loop that I need to be in there. And so then the next one is going to be coming up in your drive time. Now for our logs personally, drive time kicks on anytime the truck is moving more than 4 miles per hour, and you don't have a choice if you want to put it in other modes. You can't be in on-duty status and on-duty hooking status and the truck be moving, because it's just going to knock you into drive time.
So the only exception to that is if yours is set up to use personal conveyance, or OmniTrax was not, this one is, but you can only use personal conveyance when you're not advancing the customer's freight. So for example, I got back to the yard last Saturday, I had 3 minutes left on my clock, I dropped the trailer on duty status, and then I went into personal conveyance to drive the mile over out of the yard over to our personal vehicle. And that's fine because the customer's freight was already in the yard, and that was for my own personal to get to my personal vehicle.
Yeah, and so you can also use personal conveyance. So like, let's say he had to take it to a shop. That would be another reason that personal conveyance could be used, is to take a piece of equipment to the shop. But we know a lot of you don't even have personal conveyance, and we just got it back that we could have personal conveyance. And so when it comes to driving, when you're hooking up, it's going to bump you to driving. Anytime you're on any road, that is considered driving status. So basically, if the truck is moving more than 4 miles per hour, that's logged as driving. So it will come up with a warning though. So I'm going to go hook the set, and since we have doubles, I may hook up to the first trailer and I'm in drive status, and then it may pop up when I'm out there winding up the landing gear and hooking up the light cords, and it will say, do you want to remain in driving status? And technically, once I hooked up once I backed under the equipment, I could have gone to on duty, and then there's a drop down that says hooking or dropping, and I could have clicked on duty, hooking, and dropping. So that way it's not eating up my drive time. Personally, I usually don't until I get all the way done hooking my set, because I can hook a set in like 12 to 15 minutes, and so it takes more time to sit there and tap this thing and pick it back up and go through that every single time, because you have to wait. It has to register that the vehicle stopped for so long before you can actually activate the screen. And so for me, I could have already had the landing gear wound halfway up or something like that. So it's personal preference. But if you are new and you're starting out, you may want to just go on there, and if you are pulling maybe a 53-foot trailer, after you back under it, you might want to go to on duty status and hooking or dropping. So that kind of moves to the next topic though, which is on duty.
If you're hooked, then you would go to on duty status, and then right here in the drop down it'll say pre-trip inspection, or if you're at the end of your shift, the post-trip inspection. You have to do both of those. Both drivers have to do both of those at the beginning and the end of their shift on this particular app.
Well, and you should be legally doing it anyways. Like, you're both responsible for, you have to remember, yes, we're team drivers, and yes, we're husband and wife, but we are two separate drivers, and it is required for every driver for their duty status to do a pre-trip and post-trip on the equipment. And so that is something that you would log under as on-duty status. Other things that you would log for on-duty status is maybe if you're driving in the yard, some ELDs will allow you to move more than 4 miles per hour if you're on yard status. Move. Yeah, so you could be in yard move. Also, maybe if you're fueling the truck, that would be on duty status. Anything, if you're waiting in a shipper's line and you're just waiting at the guard shack and you're just slowly bumping up and you're able to just like creep along, that would be on duty status. So think of this way: anything that you're doing with the truck to do your job that is not driving on a roadway needs to be logged in on duty status. So I know that's pretty broad blanket spectrum, but that really is a reality. Now I know many of you do not do that, and you might be sitting in the shipper's line and you might just log yourself off duty. That is not legally how you're supposed to do it.
But even though you're on the, if you're on the on duty status and you're just, you know, bumping one truck at a time, if you're in on duty status, once you're in that status for 30 minutes, then your clock will reset for the whatever you have remaining left out of your 11 hours.
Yeah, so you can still reset, but if you're waiting in a shipper's line, you're technically still obligated to watch over the equipment and not be a hindrance to traffic and impeding traffic into the entrance of a company and things like that. So because of that, and even when you're being unloaded, because of that, you are still responsible unless they tell you to drop the trailer out a door and go park somewhere else. Technically, you are still obligated and responsible for that equipment, and you need to be logging on duty. And so I know that makes it difficult, and a lot of people will bend the rules, but I really, really encourage you not to. Law enforcement really is coming down harder. I know so many more drivers, including myself, that are getting pulled for just checking your ELD and checking your logs, which really comes to the last point, is you have to know how to send your logs electronically to an officer. If an officer helps you, technically you could be cited, because it is your job and your responsibility to know how to do it. So if you don't know how to do it, get a hold of the company that you either drive for, or there is, all ELDs have a customer service line. Call customer service yourself. Like, you don't need to call your boss and get information. Like, you have the same authority to call the ELD company and say, hey, I don't know how to do this, can you help me? And they will.
So on the OmniTracks, we had a paper that we kept in with all of our insurance and registration and all that stuff that actually told you, it was called EROD. So it's like electronic, whatever, that you could email your logs to the officer. He gives you the email to send it to, and then you enter the email and then you send it to him. This one is just a little bit different, but it's just a different labeling. It's still the same procedure.
It comes down to pre-trip planning, route planning. Don't wait until you are an hour left in time and you're in the middle of the DC and there's no place to park. Well, yeah, because you're in the middle of DC. Like, you probably should have chosen to look ahead 2 or 3 hours in advance to actually running out of time, because there are many areas where you can go an hour, 2 hours and not find any place to park. So make sure you're doing a good route plan, so that way you know when you're running out of time. And that is one of the benefits of team driving. You can say, hey, I'm getting low, can you find us a place to pull over if you need to run your 30-minute break? But if that requires you to wake up your partner, no. Like, your partner should be able to sleep straight without needing assistance. You have to remember, you have to wear 2 different hats. And yes, he is my husband, but he is also my team driver. And so I need to respect him as a team driver and not expect him to always be like my husband that's going to come save me. Like, I do the job, he does the job, and we respect each other's position within that. And I'm always looking out for his best interest. He's looking out for mine. When it comes to needing help or directions. Now, if there's a crisis or if there's a real emergency, of course, like, get them up and get some help. But try to operate as a solo driver when it's upon your shift, and respect your teammate so that way they can get good rest and can be sleeping.
So just one other thing I want to talk about, the personal conveyance. And if you're running out of time, which you probably should have already stopped anyways, but if you get to the point where you're running out of time, you can't find a place to park, this makes no sense to me whatsoever. But if you get off on an exit ramp and you have to find a safe haven to go park at, you have to go back the direction you already come. You cannot advance the customer's freight any closer towards the destination, but you can drive 5 miles back the other way to find a safe haven.
Rules are rules,
rules
and it's weird.
Rules. It's completely asinine, but that's the way it is.
It's to help. I think it's also just to help, like, the ignorance of, like, well, this one's closer, and you kind of push yourself until you, like, get as close as you can. So it's basically, like, penalize you and make you think twice before, like, trying to advance the load. So I hope that is helpful. I know that's just like some broad spectrum of things, but if you don't know, you just don't know. And so that's kind of how it works for us, and I know it works for many other people, how we run our logs. But again, next week we're going to go over, if you are team drivers and you're trying to figure out how do you set up your hours, when, who's driving, and how long you're driving for, when are you taking breaks, and how do you plan and schedule and things like that, and why we're such sticklers on it. Tune into next week's video, and we will have more information about that for you guys.
So just one more thing real quick, the Motive app that we actually have now, when we first started using it, we had it set up on both of our phones. So she would have to log out of her phone before I could log in to it on my phone. But a tablet, I think we gave $50 for this used tablet, is so much easier because you can just switch in between drivers on here.
If they log in, because you have to know your person's credentials to be able to log in under their name.
Yeah. So that's just something that we found was easier to go with both of us on the same device as having our own devices. It's just a little bit easier.
Yeah, good point. All right, guys, we hope that was helpful. You guys stay safe and enjoy the adventures.
Bye.